Saturday. Christmas comes early.
Unbelievable! Welcome to this incredible scene.
Bills.
To the end zone!
Chargers.
It's a touchdown!
An exclusive NFL game.
That's fantastic!
Live in primetime.
Wow!
Only on Peacock.
With a Christmas gift to their fans.
They're having some fun now.
Bills versus Chargers. Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Exclusively on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Columbia Sportswear. It's snowing again, and that wind chill is killer. But you're not worried about that because you shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection. It's warmth perfected with tiny gold dots that reflect your body heat inside and protect you from the cold outside. No snow or chilly temps can stop you now. Go out anyway. Shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection now at Columbia.com/infinity.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
Peter Vermees's press conference last night. He got a little more candid than he normally is.
Isn't that a novel, Candide by Voltaire?
Yeah, excellent book.
Did I not use that right? That looked at me like I was crazy.
Candide.
Candide.
Candide is a book by Voltaire.
Yes, it is.
Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another episode of the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. We are the KC Soccer Journal. Aha, first time we've said that. That's so exciting. Feels good. KC Soccer Journal, nice and legit name. I feel good about it. Please go subscribe, rate, and review. It is now, wherever you get your podcasts, the KC Soccer Journal. Thad, would you like to say a few words as our leader of this new era that we're going into away from Fox Media and SB Nation?
Yes, I would. I told you I would do better when I just spoke off the top of my head, but I don't know if that's actually true.
You said, I asked him before we started. I was like, you got anything to say? He didn't seem like he was on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to trust my guy. That's how this works here. And no, he wasn't ready at all.
Oh, actually, I'm just giving you crap, man. I'm sure many of you who listen to this know that Vox SB Nation stopped supporting almost every soccer site and NHL site, and we have all dispersed to the winds. We are now kind of banded together with a couple other soccer sites, Pittsburgh Soccer Now, Philly Soccer Now, and we decided to go with a different name, Kansas City Soccer Journal. They also have a bunch of NHL sites, so go check them out. And we went with a different name because, well, everybody knows this is a Blue Testament. It didn't, if you search for something soccer related in Kansas City, it didn't necessarily jump out there, although it was pretty high in all the results.
Yes, this was an SEO decision we made here.
Well, there was that, but it also kind of didn't sound as official, legitimate, etc. Something along a Kansas City Soccer Journal sounds like a news type of site. And
I know, if I may interject here, that is where I struggled. I do love the name that it does portray a more legit vibe. But also, are we legit? Like, we're kind of a ragtag crew here. Yes, we are. We've over the years become, quite a source for all of this. One of the only independent sources for Sporting KC news.
And the Current and the Comets and other soccer in Kansas City.
Of course, yes. But I kind of like the fact that we are just fans. Like, I hope people do. Do we have more responsibility now? Like, do we have to step our game up, guys? Is this what we need to do now?
I do think we need to amend the unofficial slogan that Thad hated from accurate partial information to accurate complete information, or as accurate and complete as the club will allow us to have information.
There it is.
Which it's a bit wordy, Thad. I think the previous tagline, and it infuriated you, but it worked.
That was just this show, though. That wasn't for the Blue Testament.
Right. And I think we're accurate as we can be. Maybe that should be the tagline. Accurate as we can be.
Viva la Blue Testament.
Yeah.
Yes, long live.
Long live the Blue Testament. The Blue Testament is dead. Long live the Blue Testament.
So this is the third era of this website in Kansas City. It was the Daily Whiz. And then that, I believe the logic there in changing that one was just before me. I was an avid reader of the Daily Whiz, enjoyed it very much. But I believe the team said they were not comfortable retweeting and sharing our stuff with the old brand. So we had to change.
When did the Daily Whiz begin?
Oh, that's a very good question that we did not have prepared. You're asking questions we were not ready.
I will probably find out sometime in the near future because I have all the data from the dump of the old site. So maybe when we load it, we can figure that out.
Oh yeah, that was Andy's days back then. He probably wasn't the first one to start it, was he? I doubt it.
I don't know who all started it, man. There was several people. A lot of them there was some that were teenagers. Andy was there twice, I think. Well, Steve Brizendine was there.
Over the years, we've developed a solid reputation. At least Thad has. I know you see conversations on Reddit every now and then of when there's rumors out there and someone will say, they'll wait for Thad Bell of the Blue Testament to say it. So yes, now that sounds even better. Thad Bell, KC Soccer Journal, whenever you ask questions to Vermees.
Yeah. And another part of why we like Kansas City Soccer Journal, or at least from my point of view, was it not only sounded like a news site, but a journal to me is a place that would tell stories. So we can be reporting, we can be accurate, but we can also try to tell the stories that maybe haven't been told. So a little bit more of an effort, the lore, the some of the long form stuff that we want to do, be it via article or podcast. I think it fits that name.
The Journal is here. The Journal. I'm trying to coin that one. I want to establish that. The Journal.
So we do a quick poll.
The Journal.
A quick poll for everybody. I'm going to start with Robert. Robert, is teal a shade of blue?
Oh Lord, David's
topic.
dying on this hill. By the way, I would say yes. I'm agreeing with David.
Cody Bradley, is teal a shade of blue?
Yes. So I say that so we don't have to change the name of the show.
Thaddeus.
Yes.
All right. See, there we go. We're in agreement.
It's unanimous.
Oh, no worries here.
I even asked somebody with the Kansas City Current because I said about how changing the name, and they said, "Well, teal's blue." So
that's all we need. We're good.
The alternative be that it's a shade of green? Is that what the opposing argument is, David?
I believe so.
Greenish blue.
Well, then it's definitely, we're going with blue. It works. Count it.
Can it not be a shade of both?
Yes, it can.
Maybe this should be like our new taco versus burrito question.
Wait, because there's green. Because green is not. Because there's blue and green, so green is technically a shade of blue. So boom, argument over.
The podcast isn't the shades of green. And it was never the Green Testament.
So the website joined this other network of other blogs that were lost by SB Nation, and we've joined a different network. The Fan First network for podcasts is where we are home to now. It was great. You guys didn't even have to notice any change. We got to keep the whole library. So yeah, it's been a pretty seamless change so far, except we were just discussing the new editor and the new back end of the blog. We're still figuring things like that out. But yeah, we're very excited. I feel good about this next era.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of aspects in the new site that will let us grow. It's going to take us a little while to figure it all out, but I think there's a lot of features that we'll be able to implement that will actually help us do better. And we'll have to figure them out as we go, but that's kind of life.
We will. We always do. And thank you for those who did go leave us some reviews. We got some reviews on the show for the first time in a long time. Thank you very much. Knocked us up a point to 4.3 on Apple ratings. So yes, we appreciate that. If you have not done that, or if you left an old one, this is what we should do. We should read old ones that are from 2018 and 2019, when how bad the show was, when we didn't know at all what we were doing. And so yes, if you've left an old one, go update it. I think we've earned that, maybe. So let's go ahead and talk Sporting Kansas City, shall we? A 0-0 draw in Philadelphia. I'm gonna frame it as a shutout against a top-notch scoring team in MLS on the road. Gritty point for Sporting Kansas City, Robert.
The spin that the Shades of Blue puts on everything. But hey, here's my thought about it. Next week we host Colorado, right? They're winless in last place in the Western Conference. I'm feeling pretty confident about a win, but I get the feeling that Colorado is feeling the same exact way because we're just right there with them.
Battle of the Wooden Spoon this weekend. It is.
Yes.
Thad, can we beat Colorado?
What's that?
Gonna beat Colorado?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted to. You didn't look confident there when we were talking about it, but we should talk about the 0-0 draw. Alan Pulido got his first minutes, and at the same time, we still had to see Kyrie Sheldon. It was just like that just felt like such a trade-off there. It was such an exciting moment, and then yes, Kyrie Sheldon is still inevitable.
It was like sabotage. Let's put on Alan. Yes, with Kyrie. Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and stay there with Alan Pulido. Thad, what did you think of his first 30 minutes there? I believe it was about 30 minutes, 62nd minute he came in.
I'd say relatively unremarkable. I mean, he's got to get up to speed. He's got to get back to, all that. But, there's a couple moments where you see good things out of him. He tracked back. He did some things. I didn't expect him to like come in and just light it up, because it's a whole different thing that he hasn't done for a year.
2 years.
It's been over a year. So yeah.
Yeah, he did. He looked good. There were definitely good moments. He is just so the hold up play was just instantly so much better. He can keep the ball so much better than anything we've seen on the field for Sporting this year. The way he can just stick a leg out and keep possession, do what he needs to do to get a touch off and get the pass off. And yeah, it's going to take him time to get worked in, but yeah, he's back to what we knew from before. He moves back way deep to get involved. And yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to create. It was unfortunate that Johnny came out at the same time. Very much like to see them tearing around together. We're still waiting for the moment we get to see the front three, Shallowy, Pulido, and Johnny all out there. Sorry, all out there together. But yeah, it was at least a good initial showing. It's real life. We have a striker again.
And another positive is Kenda is getting closer and closer. I know last time I said something like that, people like, oh, that's never happening. And then the next week, Pulido was in the lineup. I think it'll still be probably a month for Kenda, but
oh man, really? I was thinking maybe a little shorter than that. That was now over a month ago, or right? About a month ago that we saw him at media day, and that he was out there running around and kicking a ball. I don't know, like how much longer could that take? Another month, but yeah.
Well, Pulido's surgery was in January or December, and his was in April, so there's quite a gap there.
Yeah, that's true.
There was, and he has entered training, like more and more aspects of it, but I don't think he's went through full training yet. So like he's done some scrimmages where he's out there with other people doing stuff, but he's not like in that full contact and any of that stuff yet. So it's going to take a little while for that. And then again, once he's ready to be in a game and be in a lineup, it's going to still be a while before he's back to what he was.
Well, Pulido was absolutely needed to come into that game because Willy Agada is still still just not it for me. Not a lot of people are talking about him not being the one, or there's not a lot of fingers being pointed at him for whatever is going on the field or the lack of scoring. But the immediate difference there in the hold up play and keeping possession was just everything for me in this match. And yeah, that early yellow card, and then it was like he's just pressing. Willy Agada was just pressing too much and almost got himself another yellow card there and sent off. So it was absolutely time to get him off the field. Robert, where are you at with Willy Agada?
I thought he was okay. I mean, like you're saying, definitely a difference when Alan stepped on, because he's got, different skill set. I don't know if you caught it, but a couple of back heels by Alan while he was in there as well. But yeah, I mean, Willy's okay. And Willy's now got to realize, and he should have realized before this, that, hey, he's really going to have to step up his game. He's going to see time now.
Yeah, I'm okay with Willy. I still think a lot of Willy's problem has been he hasn't gotten great service, and then once he hasn't gotten great service, Sporting's just not fed him very well. He hasn't made the most of it when he has been fed, though. He's got the one goal, but that's more of a poacher being in the box at the right time type of thing. It would be really good if he could just get a goal from the run of play where he actually took the shot, created it.
Well, that is basically every single goal he scored for the team. Even when he was scoring a lot of goals, they were all right there inside the box and poacher type goals. But for me, it's like he's lacking just lethal, do everything you can to get your head on the ball. It just doesn't. There's just a bite that he's lacking. And there was a play. We can go ahead and move on to our new center back that appeared. There was a play where hold on, I'm looking for notes here. I was looking for the play. Now I can't find it. There was a header where Dany Flores and
Rosero.
Dany Flores, I did it again. Dany Rosero. It was Willy and Dany Rosero there. And Rosero showed multiple times in this game a certain hunger and bite that I felt like Willy was lacking. And they both kind of went for it on this play, and I think kind of knocked each other out of it a little bit, and it probably should have been a better shot on goal. But I think Willy was in a better position, and Rosero just has this urge, this want to get to the ball, and I think he's the one that ended up getting his head on it. And yeah, he did that several times, and that's something that was just really refreshing to see in this team, this hunger and this bite that came from Rosero in his first appearance.
Okay, so would you call his attempt earlier a hitch kick? It wasn't a bicycle because it wasn't all the way over his head. How would you guys term that?
I call it an overhead kick. I give it that. It
wasn't totally over his head, but
I think scissor. I think if it's not over
scissor, okay,
you call it a scissor kick.
All right, we can go with that. But yeah, I mean, even that, he definitely was hungry out there. And in my game recap, I think we have a threat in the box now. Finally.
Yeah, I think we do.
It'd be a target on set pieces, which we still set pieces, crosses, corner kicks, still can't do those. But there is a guy in there now that has a bit of hunger.
Okay, yeah. While we're here, can we talk about that? How bad were Eric Tommy's services on his free kicks?
Oh man, I wanted to give more love to Rosero there, but yes,
we'll go back to him.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go back to him. But yes, Eric Tommy, man, it wasn't just the set pieces. He had an absolutely horrible second half. I didn't even mean to be counting, but there were 5 very specific plays that I thought all could have been goals, and he actively prevented the team with a horrible pass or a too heavy of a touch or something. And I don't even want to go too hard on him. Like, yes, he kind of was the only bright spot of this team in the first 2 matches, but there's been a drop off there, and I still think he's good. I still think he can be a key contributor, but oh my God, that second half in this game, I was losing my mind. The 30 seconds after Alan Pulido came on, they had a breakaway. and all he had to do was make a decent pass over to his left, over to Pulido, and Pulido could have one-touched a shot on goal. And can you imagine if Alan Pulido comes on and scores in his first minute of coming back? Sporting Kansas City would have been unstoppable. The players would have had a different mindset, everyone. And I felt so robbed from that moment. But yeah, I don't know, Robert, where are you at with Derek Tommy?
Well, I mean, he's not a playmaker. I was trying to look up his assists last season. I think he had a couple when he was here, but that was not what he brought to Sporting, was playmaking abilities. It was, more aggressiveness, strong on the ball, that type of play, which we needed. But clearly, like you said, a couple of different times he could have played better balls and his service was terrible. He just is not that player. He's going to drive the game forward, but he's not a playmaker.
Well, so then that sounds like you're describing like a number 8, like a Roger.
Well, he's better than Roger at carrying the ball forward. I'll give him that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but when Pulido came on, what really kind of happened is Tommy then did kind of take that left winger slot as Shallowy then stuck in behind Pulido because Pulido was coming forward so much. So that dynamic did kind of change. And I can see Tommy maybe once Kinda comes back, maybe playing out on that left wing sometimes.
Yeah, I would like to see Tommy out there. He's got the speed. He's got the ability to beat somebody one-on-one. And I mean, that he drifts out there anyway, and he takes that spot away from Shallowy. So he might as well play that spot and give Daniel some rest once in a while when there's other options. So
yeah, I think that's been a problem with, like you said, Shallowy and Tommy, the same spaces, getting each other's way oftentimes.
And then since Sporting likes to have the outside backs get forward so much, it also causes congestion with whoever's there, be it Tim, Sweat, or Ndembe, or Volador, Robbie. So I mean, it's whoever's going up there also has to dodge around that mix of players up there to either get past them to get to the end line or combine with them.
So more Rosero.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we got him his due love there. And I guess we should talk about the pairing with Castellanos. The first appearance for both of them. I mean, a shutout against a good team away from home. That's nothing to scoff at. They both looked good. What did you think of Castellanos, Robert?
As far as defensively, he looked solid. I mean, it was really nothing that stood out, which is a good thing. Attack wise, if you look at the passing network and you watch the game, he didn't bring much at all, but that wasn't his job. He's not an Andre Ufantis, but he was fine. He was solid.
And I assume they roll with both of them again this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see Vermees, wanting to get the playmaking of Fontes in there, perhaps, because if you look at the passing network, Castellanos has lines to nobody but Volador and Rosero. That's the only people he passed to.
Yeah. But hey, that's smart. He
kept it simple.
Yeah, and that's he needed to go out and prove himself because he's coming from USL, right? And he needed to prove himself. And he did all right. He showed that he's a capable backup to come in when he needs to come in. I think if there's a left back available, I think it should probably go back to either Fontes or Robbie, because Robbie's left-footed, and have a left back out there and have Rosero as the right center back.
Thank you. You always confuse me when you do that.
Yeah, I say that incorrectly because my mind's going too fast. Sorry.
We've got David back in the Zoom. We lost him due to parent difficulties.
What'd I miss?
Oh, so much good stuff, man. I don't even remember when you left, to be honest with you.
Robert said that Rosero should never play again.
Right.
That's a take. That's a thought.
Oh, I called Rosero Flores again.
Yeah. Hey, Cody, I do have to admit, I called him by the wrong name when I asked for a question.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't another player on Sporting though.
This is the audio that we need. Can you get this audio? We need that for next episode.
I think I said Royez.
Oh no.
I was actually reading about a player named Royas like an hour before the press conference, so it was probably in my mind.
Yeah. Okay. See, in my
But
defense,
again,
I was scrambling around. I was looking for a clip, and yes, that's my
doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. I'm just
staunch defense there.
I like to understand why I make mistakes. It's not a defense of me making mistakes. I like to understand where they come from. So,
David, what'd you think of Rosero in his first appearance? And the Castellanos matchup there, I guess.
Castellanos looked fine. Nothing he did really particularly stood out to me as like bad. He didn't look dominant, but for a backup, for a guy who signed to be a backup, I was pretty pleased with his performance. Rosero looked like the real deal. It's one match, it's 90 minutes, but he looks like maybe the best center back we've had since Ike. He looked strong in the box. He had good timing. He was in the right spot when he needed to be. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, even from his first touch on the ball was just a really strong, aggressive step, and it felt good from there. But yeah, you guys mentioned that you both mentioned about him being a backup, and you guys know I'm still a Fontes stan. So yes, I'm excited at the prospect of those two center backs. I know there's a lot of people doubting Fontes out there, but I still think, like we said, with the aggression and aerial attack and all of that from, maybe Rosero's a bit more of a bruiser, I think is a good combination to pair with Fontes and his fancy feet and Barcelona passing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rosero's passing wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
He had a couple of different times when he did, penetrate into the middle, into the midfield with passes and things like that. He was solid on the ball. But the thing I really liked about the whole back four plus Radoja when he was in was how confrontational they were and how physical they were in their confrontations. Much more aggressive, much more proactive.
Yes, Radoja is I believe where we got that. That's what Patrick corrected us to. Is that
what it was? Okay, fine for me.
No, that's what you said it as, and I thought that's what Patrick kind of like yelled at us one day at training, and I thought that's what he tried to correct us to, but I thought everyone was saying Radoja.
I thought that's what it was.
Okay.
Is that not what it is?
Don't think Radoja is correct, but it could be.
I don't know. Patrick said something.
Just as a reminder, I sent you the pronunciation that he says it himself. Nemanja Radoja. I'm pretty sure is how he says it. But
then Robert does deserve a fine.
So this is a perfect time to pull that audio file that I sent you out and play it. Insert.
Boom.
Insert your Nemanja right here.
Wow.
So, Cody, the thing about Fontes has never been that he's been a particularly good defender, right? It's that he's a great passer out of the back line. And so in 2021, when he was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, he was at 4.88 goals added, which was second in the league that year behind Adam Buxa, who was the striker for New England Revs. So if that gives you context of how good he was great. This year, though, not so great. Even last year, it was at 3.26 goals added, which was still towards the top of the league. I think the last time I checked, he's at like 0.15 goals added. And it's because his passing has not been that good this year. He's been off. And if Fontes isn't on with his passing, then he's a liability.
Yes, absolutely.
And he has not been on the last couple games specifically, I think.
But I thought we had shifted there to Nemanja Radoja, who had a great, I'm not sure when he went down, but what an absolute slap in the face to have another muscle injury like that. And that's another guy. Roger's also inevitable. We got Kyrie's inevitable, Roger's inevitable. But yeah, he looked really good in his brief appearance, David.
He did. I thought he got kicked. It looked like he and a Philly player challenged for the same ball and that he got kicked and went down because I saw him kind of clutching at his leg. But then he came off with a hamstring.
I think if he's in there, we get the win. They sneak a goal in with him in there.
The midfield definitely looked better with him in than it did with Roger.
Don't forget the guy in between the pipes there, man.
That's where we were moving to next. Tim Melia, 36-year-old Tim Melia, got his first start of the season and looked good.
Good old Redwood.
Had a few Timmy moments. It felt
Making saves that only a tree can make.
Oh, they were saves a tree could not make, and that is when I show my love for a keeper. Yeah, there were a couple very big moments there. One of them, I think it didn't need to look like such a highlight reel save, but I think he was maybe got twisted around or just got caught off-footed, but yeah, he looked good, and I expect to see him in there for the foreseeable future until Pulse Camp does something in training or Melia messes up. Thad, you were the one that wanted to talk about him.
Wow, you said a lot of what I wanted to say. He came in and played like Timmy. I mean,
it's Timmy.
I don't think he's the future by any means. I think Pulse Camp is the future, but one reason I thought that perhaps he played instead of Pulse Camp is because there was so much change to the back line. So if you take from the 6 back, that's essentially 5 changes of the 6 potential players there with Nemanja coming in, all of the back line except Zusi either being a different person or playing in a different position. It probably was very beneficial to have an experienced keeper there to help keep them organized.
Speaking of all of the changes on the back line, I think that is what a lot of people wanted to see, or maybe not specifically the changes to the back line, but a lineup shakeup. Peter Vermees was not happy after last week. We talked about how we talk about every week about how the topic of him putting in who he thinks is going to win and win that week, give him the best chance to win that week. And we were talking last week how that cannot be the case anymore. Like now we know after this 4-1 loss, it cannot be the case with these players, even though they, until the floodgates had opened in that one, there was maybe reason to think fix a couple things and they can turn things around. But yeah, once we all saw that it was apparent that something needed to change, these older guys weren't necessarily the ones that should be doing it. And yeah, like that's exactly what you want to see from a manager. I don't think Vermees did anything to calm down any of his haters, but yeah, like that's what you want. That's what you want to see. I was talking last week about how all of the complaints like I would want to have or something you want to see them do, the club has done something. Even if it hasn't worked, they've got like they've had a response. You know what I mean? We have all these old players, but then at the same time they signed 3 U22 guys last year. And this is another one. It was another disappointing result. We still don't have any wins, still can't score any goals. But like that's exactly what I wanted to see. He wasn't happy. He was pissed off with the guys, and he made some major changes. And I think we saw a bunch of positives from it, at least, Pulido back and Radoja and Rosero. So yeah, I get, fuck me for just being a fan of this team and like trying to find positives and enjoying myself while watching this team. But yeah, I had fun watching a 0-0 draw, and I'm optimistic still going forward. I think all of the people who just want to act like Vermees is the worst thing in the world, that's fine. We disagree with what we did last week very heavily about a lot of his choices. But how you have to be ignoring how they finished last season. I'm hanging my hat on. They've given us all these reasons to believe that they can turn things around, and we still have some firepower that is yet to be unleashed.
I'm going to flip to the other side for a second. Well, I actually pretty much agree with you, Cody. I'm going to flip to the other side just because somebody has to. You got to understand why people will get tired of, well, you just got to wait till we have our full lineup. We got to wait till we have our full lineup. We got to wait till we have our full lineup.
I'm not telling people to wait. You can be mad right now if you want. I'm telling you why there's reason to not think the world is crashing down around us. That's where I'm at. That's what I mean. Like, well, I'm just sorry I'm a fan of this team. I find positives. It's fun. And I don't like to wallow in self-pity.
It does feel like sometimes a team does say that. Like, wait, we don't have Alan back. We don't have Gotti back. We don't have our center back in. We don't have our six healthy. We don't have Johnny. Man, you got to go out and get some points without him. So,
and it is so relentlessly frustrating. I hate it. And then that's why that hurts so much seeing Radoja go down. And, obviously we record these on Sundays, so we don't have an update on his injury, but I imagine on Tuesday we should get a little something. Oh, maybe Thad Bell at the back post does have something.
Well, it's not much, but I was told that it was a hamstring, and they got to wait a little bit for the swelling to go down so they can make a complete evaluation of how long it'll be. So it's really not an update, but it is. I did actually ask somebody about that today.
David, you went on Peter Vermees last week. Pretty good. Where are you at with him? Changes what you wanted to see?
Mostly, yeah. The old saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Right. And so seeing us trot out the same tired ass back line, the same, guys in midfield, and getting bad results over and over is infuriating. So I liked seeing changes, real changes to the starting 11, and we looked better. Very disappointed to still see Roger sub in off the bench. Still disappointed to see Kyrie not get jettisoned into the sun.
I was too.
But overall, not bad. And I think the scoreline doesn't indicate what the game was, which is we went on the road to a really tough opponent and got a really gritty draw, which is very different than when we had the 0-0 draw against Colorado, which was two shitty teams just playing really sloppy soccer, and we got lucky to get out with a draw. Yeah, so we actually looked good.
I felt like we were on the front foot for a long time. There for a 5-minute period, I was sure we were going to get a goal.
It was nice to see Alan back. I don't think he played very well, but it was nice to see him back.
Yeah, you missed the Pulido conversation. You don't think he played well? Tell us.
No.
Why not?
I think he and Tommy do a lot of the same thing, which is play too much hero ball. I thought Alan was unwilling to pass. He dribbled himself into some bad spots. He dribbled himself out of some bad spots and then continued to dribble into other worse spots. And I thought he looked slow. Yeah. Thad's been telling us for 2 years that this is a tough injury to recover from, and he did not look as explosive as he did before he got hurt.
Yeah, for his first match of the season, I think that is at least to somewhat to be expected. But
sure.
The point you made, David, about that he was dribbling into some of those tough spaces, he definitely was trying to do too much. He wanted to do too much in his first appearance. But that was the key there for me. That was just such a big difference. Was he would get into those spots and he does just enough. He just sticks a leg out, keeps possession, gets a toe on it, and gets the pass off. And that was really refreshing to see. Like, we have a guy that can keep the ball at his feet, keep possession, and yeah, that. So he was not a $10 million striker in that 30-minute appearance, but yeah, I think the explosiveness, we're still waiting to see that, but I expect it to come at least a little bit. There is the question, hopefully, will he be as explosive? Yes, that's a major question, but I don't think we necessarily should have expected to see it in that first appearance.
Well, and if he's not as explosive, then maybe we need to have a conversation, and Vermees, about moving him further back on the field. And Alan is a good passer. He's great with the ball at his feet. Maybe he's better suited to a midfield spot where he can kind of pull strings and facilitate for other players. He already drops back deep enough as a 9 that it's not that big of a shift for him.
No way.
And he can shoot from distance.
Would you not be interested in seeing Alan play Eric Tommy's spot?
No, I would like to see Gotti Kinda play Eric Tommy. I like the midfield of Radoja, Tommy, and Kinda.
Yeah. Well, but given how Alan seemed to be slow and not as explosive coming back, that was a huge part of Gotti's game. When Gotti comes back whenever this year, and again, we're going to rely heavily on the guy who sees him in practice regularly, Thad, who doesn't think he's that close to coming back.
Yeah, he
Do
said
you think
earlier,
Gotti's going to be the same player? Is he going to be as explosive as he was?
Earlier I guessed a month that he might be making a lineup, but obviously I could be very wrong. So it'd be kind of funny though if Gotti comes back and Allen gets back to being healthy, and they can be the Eric, Tommy, and Willy Agada of this year.
And what happened last year? I'm
we didn't
still
make the
holding out
playoffs.
hope, man. I'm sorry that I'm optimistic, but we have reason to believe that they can turn things around. They did it last year. Two, we still have some firepower coming back. So whatever, I'm here for it.
And I don't know if anyone noticed, but the 76th minute, Tommy had some pretty severe, seemingly pain in his left knee. So I don't know if there's anything there. I hope it's nothing. But Cody, I was interested when you said your midfield. You don't think Remy Voltaire belongs in there?
Yeah, maybe Remy instead of Tommy if he keeps looking like he did in that second half.
Of course, he might be nated to the 6 for the next 6 months.
Right. So why do we think that Felipe Hernandez was not the one to come on for instead of Roger?
Because Felipe ain't it, man. No,
Roger ain't it either.
Because Vermees trusts Roger.
I know, but
so when you know he's going to do that every game. He trusts Shelton. God knows why, but he does. He trusts Roger. He trusts Zusi. Those guys can do no wrong, and they'll never get the hook.
I get that, but watching Espinoza, he's just not the player he used to be, and he shouldn't be. And for me, he said this earlier, he shouldn't be playing Rogers as much as he's had to.
You say trust. I think it's trusts more than the other backups. He trusts Kyrie more than Johnny's. He trusts Roger more than Felipe.
Yeah, but the question is why? Like, what has Shelton shown that is deserving of that trust?
What's Johnny's shown? What's Felipe shown?
Interesting. Since we had a pause there, I'm gonna go backwards for a second. We were talking about Pulido, and people kept mentioning how he doesn't look as explosive. I never saw him as much as an explosive attack guy, as much as he was a skilled attack guy. He could make the runs, he could make the shots, he knew where to be. It was not as often about him outrunning a defender, because I mean, he could do it at times, but his biggest strength was that he could hold the ball and he could get those shots off through traffic, or, thread them where they needed to be. It wasn't as much as him being like, oh, I'm going to be the power guy and outrun somebody. So that explosiveness, if it's just the explosiveness of that first step, I understand that, but I'm just trying to define that a little bit. I don't see him quite that same way. So I think even if he's not as explosive, he still can be a very productive player if he gets back into form.
Well, we were talking about these guys getting back into form, and we haven't mentioned two of the guys that are most important that we need back in form, and that's Shallowy and Russell. What's the issue there? Is it because Tommy takes Shallowy's space? What's going on there? Because we need those guys to be playing near their top.
Yeah, I've said it this year before. Shallowy, we've needed him to step up and be the star, and he hasn't.
I do think part of it is that he and Tommy conflict a bit, and then the rest of the team has sucked, more or less. Not to be too critical, but it takes all of them to give enough pressure for him to get those spots, and he's not doing what he needs to do, and everybody else isn't doing what they needed to do.
Well, that makes sense. We've heard Vermees talk about Tommy and say he is doing too much. He's running. The amount of motion and movement that he's doing. He could be accomplishing more with less. And I think that does, explain why he might be conflicting with Shallowy over there on the wing if he's running around with his head cut off.
And I think Johnny has shown in his limited time that, he's still the player he was. And the fact that he cuts inside more often than Shelton does, and whatever, I think is an important factor overall.
So Colorado this weekend, will we see that front three? Will the front three start? Johnny, Pulido, Shallowy?
I say they don't start, but we see them at some point.
Which of those won't start? Pulido's still not starting.
I still think Pulido wouldn't start, but
oh, come on, just get him out there. Jesus. I'm so tired of this. Like he's probably gone at the end of this year, right? Just play him. Put him on the field. My God. I hate the one season we had with him was the pandemic season, right? Is that how that worked? Literally which was
2020 and 2021.
We haven't even really talked about that. Like how much of a if you would the day after we signed Alan Pulido, if someone would have told us that he would be down with an injury for a year and a half plus of the 3 years, I cannot imagine a more devastating thing to hear. I would have thought that would have hampered the club for the next 5 years.
you'd be trying to figure out how many million per goal.
Yeah, it's such a disaster. And that's the thing, like, I think we were all worried about it, is it's like, hopefully this works out and sets a precedent of look what happens when they spend the money and look what happens when they spend the money.
Yeah. It's always going to be an issue and it's always going to be a risk when you're in a league like this, but I would almost rather they spent $3 million for on 3 different players, but
yeah,
I don't make those decisions.
Well, I think that was kind of the idea with the U22 signings, right?
Yeah, kind of along that line.
If we could all see the future, we'd make perfect decisions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys.
Remember when I predicted that Pulido would lead the team in goals this year? Actually, no, I predicted he would break the team record of 17 in goals.
He may. That's not the team record, though. Is it?
No, Dwyer had like 20.
I think that was the season he had the points per goal or points or goals per game or something like that was his record.
What's he doing now?
God only knows.
I mean, he was scoring goals last year. I would like to make fun of Dom Dwyer too, but he was scoring goals. What is he doing?
One against us, anyway.
Yeah. What is he doing this year? Were you actually asking that, or is he in a bad situation and that's why we were laughing?
Man, if he was in a bad situation, like hurt or something, I don't think I would actually make the joke.
Well, I didn't mean that. Is he not on a team? Is that what the joke was?
Correct. He got waived by Atlanta in January, and I don't think he's on a team right now.
Not that I know of. I think he's searching.
He scored 4 goals last year, one of which was against Jose Mauri, who was immediately jettisoned.
Speaking of jettisoned into the sun, Jose Mauri. All right. Does the Dom Dwyer discussion wrap us up here for the evening? Any final thoughts, Thad?
I think things are getting better. I think we'll still have some struggles for Sporting, but I think it is getting better. So, I mean, be a little patient, be a little optimistic, but don't be too Pollyannish.
See, that's what being a fan is. You just described what being a fan is. And I wish there were more of those for Sporting Kansas City.
More fans?
Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of people that follow the team and hate them.
I mean, we could have this discussion about fandom like almost any week, but fandom is such a weird thing. People love people who they've never met, make more money than them.
This is MLS. That's not always true.
Oh, no, that's true, but it's mostly true. And they love them like they're brothers and family, and then they get so mad when they aren't perfect also. So it's always such a weird thing. Like, I try to be calm about it, but yeah, I mean, I yell at the TV sometimes too. So
22 in 2014 for Don Dwyer.
Wow. Okay.
Do we want to cover some other stuff real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. I would trade right now, this moment, Kyrie Shelton for Dom Dwyer's best friend, Suni Saad. Wow. Give me Suni.
Oh, Lord.
I'd rather have him than Kyrie.
Did you just look up some Suni Saad stats? Like, where is he playing? Do you know if he's playing?
He is still playing.
Don't care. Don't know. Don't care.
That's his whole point.
He is still playing.
Don't care.
He is still playing. He's been playing in like Lebanon and South Korea and Thailand and Lebanon and Syria. And, well, I don't know where all, but that's kind of general where he's played.
Sunisad, one of my favorite stories that we are not allowed to tell. At least it's a rumor. A rumor that I don't want to spread on the show, but my favorite.
Oh, if that's the one you're thinking of,
it is one of my favorite stories, rumors in this sporting Kansas City wizarding universe.
Thad, how did SKC2 look today?
They looked pretty decent. They drew 1-1 with Austin FC today, and they won in penalties because MLS Next Pro doesn't have draws, so they go and they have a penalty shootout after.
Not gonna lie, I did not know that. I got the foot mob notification that said waiting for extra time, and I was like, "What is going on in this game? Like, why are they going to extra time?"
So they won in extra time or penalties. And
so Duke played left back?
He did. He played left back, and he didn't do too terrible at it. He got forward really well. He defended. I shouldn't say it that way, so I apologize. There was times he could have done some things better, but he got forward really well. He actually did defend very well. I think it's a little bit more of a spacing thing, but it was interesting to see him there. Jake Davis played the 6. Ozzy Cisneros played the 8/10, or we'll say the 10/8, and actually that's the best game I've seen him play, probably since he was, playing U15, and actually maybe even that. He actually had a pretty good game defensively and offensively. Let's see, center back Chris Rindove, the draft pick.
Oh, yeah.
He played, so it was his first professional minutes. He did pretty well. And Danny Flores came into the game late and scored on one of the penalties. So
the real Danny Flores.
Yes. And so they look pretty good. Austin's a pretty good team. The player that was on Austin in the first game they lost against St. Louis that passed back to the St. Louis player, he was there today playing center back for him.
Wow, he got jettisoned too. Down to USL after that giveaway.
Yeah. Down to MLS Next Pro.
First loss of the season versus STL City. Good stuff. 1-0 against Minnesota.
But yeah, that guy played for Austin that helped out St. Louis. He's from St. Louis, and his family was in town watching him play today. So the only people walking around in Austin jerseys.
What about the furthest shade of blue to teal? What about KC Current?
Kansas City Current followed in the other team's footsteps by getting destroyed by a team from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Same score too, right?
Yeah, 4-1.
Yeah, Sophia Smith. And there was a hat trick from an opposing player also, right?
Right. Yes. Sophia Smith.
Running rampant. I must say I'm a fan of hers.
Oh, yeah, me too. She's really good. I'm going to be very happy to root for her with the US. I hate rooting. Can't root for her with Portland, but she's really, really good, and is almost kind of like a little bit of a villain at times. She kind of enjoys that a little bit, I think. Heard somebody else mention that, and I was like, man, they're right. So I can't say I created that, but
she had
really bought into it.
One of those goals really embarrassed the defense for the Current.
I went through like 4 players.
Yeah.
Nutmegged one of them. And she's just good. I mean, she's hard to stop. Last year when they played in Kansas City, they basically had 2 people on her the entire time, and they were able to limit her. But she's just not going to be stopped when she's on. And Kansas City has some issues that they're trying to work out still.
11,000, over 11,000 in attendance, new record.
11,300 and something. 301.
And of course, you might remember that the previous record was 10,000 at the famous media game last year.
Tony Bradley of the Blue Testament with the header, putting Team Harlan up 1-0 with 30 seconds remaining.
The other side don't seem so tough, and 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong and all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.